Sorry. Welcome back. Hopefully you guys got a break too. Maggie, I really like your background picture there.
My daughter actually took that when they were on, she and her husband were on a hike.
Ah,
Oh, I
I
can
wanna
have
know
your
how she
property.
works the computer though.
Where is that taken?
Don't know,
Where is
probably
that?
probably over by the tobacco roots or something.
Okay, I think we're ready, and so trying to keep ahead of everything, we're gonna go to tab 3. That will be Doug, right? Is that what you want to do first, Dan?
Yeah,
Okay.
good morning. Reviewing the commercial and residential loan portfolios. The participation loan program has an outstanding balance at the end of the year, a little over 107 million. It's 46 loans with a yield of about 2.69%. There's 2 loan reservations, a little over 7 million, and 4 committed loans, a little over 5.3 million, and there's no past due loans. The infrastructure loan program balance at the end of the year was almost 8.5 million. 7 loans, a yield of 4.05%. We do have 1 loan reservation for a little over 2.7 million. No past due loans in that program. The intermediary relending program had a balance of a little over 5.5 million with 39 loans. The yield is always 2%. There's 1 loan committed for 250,000, no past due. The science and tech portfolio had a balance of a little over 7.6 million. It's 2 loans. The yield on that portfolio is 2.73%. Montana Facility Finance Authority, the balance is a little over 9.6 million. That represents 15 loans. The yield is 2.69. And there's two loan reservations for $3 million, and they do not have any past due loans. And then the Veterans Home Loan Mortgage Portfolio, as of January 24th, a little over 49 million. It's 278 loans, and the yield on that program is 2.02%. They have 1 loan reservation for a little over 309,000. They have 4 loans over 90 days past due that total 750,000 or 1.52% of the portfolio. The multifamily cold trust home program had a balance of January 24th of a little over 14 million. There are 6 funded pre-HB 819 loans that total a little over 12 million with a yield of 2.21%. There is 1 loan reservation that is the pre-HB 819 for a little over 1.9 million with an interest rate of 2%. There is 1 funded post HB 819 loan for a little over 2 million. The interest rate on that is 3.5825%. There are 10 loan reservations totaling 36.6 million roughly with a yield of 3.64. And the January minimum rate is 3.39% for the post HB 819 loan. And the average coal tax investment performance is 3.89%. And there are no past due loans. The residential loan portfolio had a balance on January 24th of a little over 1.1 million and represents 37 loans, and the return is 6.29%. No outstanding reservations. There are 3 loans over 90 days past due, total almost 113,000 or 10.42% of the portfolio. The past due loans do have FHA guarantees on them. And then the Montana Down Payment Assistance Program had a balance at the end of the year of 46.576 million, represent 88 loans. There are 4 loans committed that total over 2 million. Those loans have been funded. So the down payment assistance program is essentially complete. A little over 48.5 million with 92 loans in that program. Payments on that program won't start until January of 2027. So that program will just hopefully stay constant until then, payments start coming in. And then the impact fee loan program, at the end of the year, there was one loan reservation for 3 million. We did receive one more reservation since then, so there's a total of 6 million reserved under that program. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
And some of those residential things or veterans, Board of Housing services those.
Yep, Board of Housing administers them and services them.
Right. So is that relationship good and you feel comfortable with how they're handling that?
Yeah, they've got.
Because some of those past due loans may tick up a little bit. I think.
Yeah, they've got a very good servicing department. The individuals that they have there have worked there a long time. They understand the processes and provide us reporting every month of what's past due. And so we have a very good relationship with the Board of Housing.
Good. Mark?
On the down payment assistance program, when the money starts rolling in again, can you remind me where the money goes and who's going to control that money?
So when the money rolls back in, it'll go into an account that we need to have a conversation with the governor's office about where that goes. Right now, it has been spent for the purposes of federal compliance. When it rolls back in 27, it'll be state money.
Okay, so when you say it rolls into account, is that a general fund account? Is that a special revenue account? Or?
As of now, it's a state special account.
Okay.
I don't know that that's the right account type.
So you need to have a discussion with the governor's office.
Yes.
Was there an intention when this all put together that?
On my part or theirs?
Both.
For me, I think it gives us some flexibility to be responsive if we're actually able to keep control of that money. And if there's some sort of economic need as opposed to people looking at the coal trust. I mean, if you look at some of these yields in the coal trust programs, they're not all that high. So there's been an established need or, want, I'll say. But the performance of those loans hits our performance. So the legislature says, for instance, on the IRP program, you can only get 2%. Whereas if we just had it invested in the coal trust as we do every other investment, we'd be north of 4, close to 5. So my longer term hope is that if the state decides they want to have these one-off loan programs, we can manage them. Doug does a great job. We have wonderful relationships with the lenders, but that we use one-time funds like this to establish that so we can be fully invested on the coal side, get that yield for all of the participants, and then use these sort of one-off dollars to do those other sorts of programs with. That's my hope. I don't know that I'll get there because everybody loves low interest rates for their constituents.
This is a good program too, the down payment assistance program, probably other than the deferred interest program, which was free, but this program from the lender standpoint, from the borrower standpoint, from the working capital aspect of it, it was a really, really good program. If this program could go on, interest rates are obviously, the big draw for this one, but the ability for the borrower to only come up with 5% down,
Right.
That's big, so. And hopefully this program, the repayment of it will be good. There's more risk there because the borrower has put in less skin into the game, but I think if the payments come back in, it's a good program.
I've got just a really mechanical question, and it's kind of a dumb question, but sorry. What's the difference between a reservation and a committed, and there's a third level in here I saw too?
Yeah, so reserved is basically you've got the funds there and the interest rate is locked in.
So you signed the documents at that point? The
There's a
borrower signed the
reservation
document.
form that the lender completes.
Oh, okay.
And so then we can tell how much money that we've got reserved for that program. And, you know, under certain programs like the participation, they reserve an interest rate. So if the rates go up, they're locked in at that lower rate.
Oh, I see.
Committed is where I come to either Dan or you, and we actually then approve the loan, and then we issue a commitment letter to the lender saying, hey, if you do everything that you told us you're gonna do, we'll participate in your loan. And then the other one is funded, where they've actually closed the loan and came to us and then requested us to fund the loan.
Okay.
And that's where these loans right here that you're seeing the balance, these are all funded loans pretty much.
Anything else for Doug? Doug, just a general, what's out in the world of banking, or what are you seeing there?
Yeah, through my conversations with the lenders, it's slowed down. Interest rates have definitely had an impact, you know, in their world. And it has slowed down because of the higher interest rates. You know, if we see interest rates getting lower again, I think they'll pick up, things will pick up. I mean, there is activity out there. It's just not as much as it was when the rates were low.
If they stay up, do you figure that has an impact on the down payment assistance program?
Well, if we do have another down payment assistance program,
Well, this one expires at the end of the year.
it's,
Or
it's,
close.
the money's all used up.
Oh.
And it expired in January, I think was the last one they had to be funded. So there's no more monies available for that program. So in order for that program, if we were to continue it, we'd have to have money start coming back in. And we went out as far as 25 years. So it'd be a long time on some of it to get money back in, but the shorter ones,
Yeah.
to 10 years or less, the money will start coming back in, but then it's whatever happens at that point. With
When was that initiated?
What's that?
The program, when did that initiate?
Governor approved that in 21? 21 and 22, because we had 2 rounds.
Yeah,
We did 21, got an allocation, then they got more money from the feds and they gave us a second round.
yeah. So we had 37 million reserved in the first round, 43 million in the second round, for a total of 80 million allocated. We ended up funding 50 million, so essentially 30 million. We committed, but they didn't close for any reason or whatever it was.
And then that 30 million rolled over, 15 of it went to the impact fee loan on the housing side. And then the budget director is contemplating with the governor what to do with the other 15 million. But I've been informed, if anyone at the Department of Commerce asks, we're out of money, they can't have any.
Good. Anything else for Doug? Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
Thanks.
11, I think you're good to roll from tab 1.
Have one, just call the
Just
meeting.
call it and let's grip it and rip it, we're good.
Geez, I was ready to hear you talk some more.
You're the only person in the history of humanity to say that.
I take it back then. So anyway, I will call the meeting of the Montana Board of Investments to order. On today is February 28th. And so first thing we want to make sure everybody understands is that there is a video recording of the meeting. And that has started. Becky, come on in.
Hi, thank you.
So welcome. Savannah, if you're there, let's see if you can do a roll call for us.
I am here. Good morning, Mr. Chair and members of the board. Jack Prothero,
Here?
Cindy Yunkin,
Here.
Porter Bennett,
Here.
Tim Kober,
Here.
Maggie Peterson,
Here.
Mark Berry,
Here.
Jeff Meredith, absent, Dan Trost,
Here.
Dwayne Iverson,
Here.
and Senator Jeremy Trebus, who I do not see online. We
Okay.
do have a quorum. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Good, thank you. And thanks for getting all the stuff ready for us. The next thing that I want to talk about is, at one time I got the email when somebody from the board said that they couldn't make the meeting, but they wanted to give me their proxy. And if you look, I did look it up, and Dan did too, look it up in our rules, we don't allow proxy voting. And so I just wanted to make that clear when there's no controversy, just in case somebody thought that I didn't want somebody to think that they didn't have their vote or anything. I think the way we do business, that's the proper way to do that. But I just wanted to mention that. And so the next thing that I'd like to talk about is ask for public comment on issues within the board's jurisdiction. Do you see any online or anything, Dan?
We have no hands, we're good.
Good, so hearing none, we can move on. The next part of the process is to approve the minutes of December 12th. And so you had a chance to look at that in your packet. Is there a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll move the minutes, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Is there-
Second, Iverson.
Okay, thank you. Moved in second. Any corrections? If not, we'll call for a vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign. Those minutes are approved unanimously. We also had another meeting on December 21st, a special meeting. Those minutes are in the packet also. Is there a motion to approve those as submitted?
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second, Iverson.
Second. Moved in second. Any corrections? If not, all those in favor of approving those minutes say aye.
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 Any opposed? Same sign. Hearing none, those minutes are approved unanimously. The next thing is a couple of our administrative business things. First is Mark, Audit Committee report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The audit committee met this morning, and there were no decisions by the committee to bring to the board. We did discuss that our audit checklist has been updated for fiscal year 2024. The annual report for 2023 has been posted onto the Board of Investments website. The 2023 financial audit by the Legislative Audit Division was presented to the Audit Committee on January 2024 of 2024. The opinion date was December 6th of 2023, meaning that's when they reviewed everything up to that point. It was a clean audit, the clean opinion, no issues were found on the audit. And nothing was brought to our attention as a result of that committee meeting. The SOC audit, Whipley will start their SOC audit March or April. This is an annual review of the board's policies and procedures, and discussion occurred that focus for this year should be on the new programs, the housing programs and that sort of thing, where new money has been allocated, so that we have assurance that the policies that we have approved as a board are being followed by those programs. But they will look at all the programs that the board has. Under tab 2 in our binder is a discussion and materials for ethics. All staff members have reviewed and signed ethics forms, and we are being asked as a board to sign ethics. There's 2 different ethics documents to sign. One is the overall ethics program, and one is I think it's the use of materials from the board. So our code of ethics is under tab 2, and the confidentiality and use of our position as board members. And there are a number of materials from the board's policies and procedures and from the state of Montana that are available for our review, and we are expected to review those. And at this time, or at this meeting, we are being asked to sign these confidentiality agreements. Any questions on that at all?
So when you have the signed ones, if you just hand them to Dan, that would be good.
Okay, and we did discuss that members that are online will get electronic DocuSign forms to submit. We also discussed that the board is working with reviewing the continuous operations plan. They're working with the Department of Military Affairs, Disaster and Emergency Services Division for their expertise. They're also working with the Department of Administration on the custodial banking forms to make sure that we have a good continuity of operations plan, and we'll be doing a tabletop with those organizations as well as tabletop for the plan. In addition, Dan pointed out that the staff have completed a review of existing procedures and have created desk manuals for all functions of the organization, so that there is a procedure manual for each function of the Board of Investments. And again, all staff have reviewed internal controls, fiduciary duties, cybersecurity, and ethics, among a number of other topics, and have also signed their ethics forms. That was the extent of our coverage this morning, Mr. Chairman, so.
Good, thank you, Mark. Is there any questions for Mark? If not, we'll go on to the loan committee. I'll give that loan committee report. We did approve a couple things that need to go before the full board. I just want to make sure in the minutes that people are looking at them, that it sometimes seems that loan committee, we don't spend a lot of time on some of these bigger loans at the full board meeting, but we do need the full board's formal vote. But we do spend a lot of time on those at the loan committee. And all board members that are here today were at the loan committee. And so rather than just repeat all that, we'll just do it on a high level. But I want people to be assured that we do take that seriously. So the first loan request that we approved at the loan committee was the city of Billings requested a $14,690,000 loan to finance their repairs on their new city hall building. They bought that building. The total cost of that whole project is going to be $46,620,000, and we'll have a part of that. And so as a recommendation from the loan committee, I'd like somebody to make a motion for the full board to approve that.
I would so move, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Porter. Seconded. Again, is there any questions or comments by anybody on the board or loan committee? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of the city of Billings request, please say aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. Hearing none, that's approved unanimously. The next thing we discussed in the loan committee, again, Louise does a nice job in presenting this information to us. We have an ongoing relationship with the Department of Natural Resources and Conservation. They have various funds that they request loans from us to fund them, and then we look at these as they are requested. So there was 3 of them. We're gonna approve them all together in one final vote, but I'll mention all 3. And then the reason that the full loan committee needs to look at that, total request with all the borrowings that they're doing is $7,370,000. So again, that needs the full board's approval. But the first request from DNRC was $3,730,000 interim loan for the drinking water state revolving fund. Again, an ongoing basis that we've funded that. The second request from them was $1 million for the Renewable Resource Grant and Loan Program. And then the third request that they had was a request $2,540,000 for the Water Pollution Control State Revolving Fund. Again, a long-term relationship that works well with this and enables them to fund various municipalities in their projects that the DNRC oversees. So I'd like a motion to approve all 3, including the ones I just discussed, for a total commitment to $7,370,000 to DNRC. Is there a motion to approve those?
Also moved.
Okay, Porter?
Second, Cindy.
Cindy, she's faster than you. Moved and
I'm
seconded.
paying attention here, so.
Well, she wants to prove that she's paying attention, so very. So anyway, any additional questions or comments from anybody? If not, we'll proceed to the vote. All those in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Hearing none, that's approved unanimously. Doug did talk to us about what's happening in the market and some other things going on, and it's in a way that the board is kept up to date, sort of what's happening in the banking industry. There's no report there that's outstanding, but we do follow that. So with that, I think unless there's something else from anybody, that's the loan committee report. Okay. So the next thing is we've got some reports from our TRS and PERS. You want to go first, Dan?
Sure. I'll be quick. I missed last week's meeting. I was at a conference in New Orleans, observing and not participating in various Bourbon Street activities. But Dan was there, and it sounds like, I talked to Sean, sounds like Dan did a brilliant job of updating them on what's going on around here.
What meeting was that?
At the TRS meeting. Dan goes once a year, right?
Okay.
Yeah, statutorily have to.
Was down in New York.
Oh, no, sorry.
So did I.
Sorry.
I was a
no.
little concerned.
No.
Never again.
Dan was at the TRS meeting, and sounds like he did a great job. Sean mentioned that he's been asked to provide information to the new committee that's looking at putting some numbers around alternatives to the DB plans. I think Dan's involved in that too, so there might be an update from Dan at some point. Next meeting is budget, so that'll be a bigger meeting, and I'll have a better update after that one for you guys.
Okay. Yep. Any questions for Dan? Hearing none. Maggie, do you want to do a report?
Sure. The Ampera board has met twice, once on December 14th and once on February 8th. I missed the December 14th meeting, but my understanding is Dan came and gave the status of the pension trust at that meeting. Is that correct, Dan?
Yes.
Also, they did fiduciary training, which I've been through a few times, so I'm not feeling too bad about missing that. We also had one entity, which was Park Conservation District, adopt the 457 plan. And then on the next meeting, which was February 8th, I was present at that brief meeting, but we had a couple more entities. The city county of Silver Bow adopted the 457 agreement, and Roosevelt County Conservation District as well. We also had a budget update, and I want to give you a little information on how those budgets work. At the end of the year, if we do not spend all of our funds, anything left over reverts back to the trust. They're estimating as of December that we will probably revert about 2 million back to the trust. So that's a good thing. We also extended our contract with Sagitech. That's the entity that helped us implement the employer reporting program that we've struggled with since I've been on the board. I think they're making some headway, but I think the staff at are looking constantly to see what we can do better to maybe use a different package to monitor and track information. So I'll keep you up on that. Oh, and the sad news for that meeting was Schwinden informed us that he will be retiring in April. Dory's been a long-serving individual for all sorts of state entities, so we will miss him. So more to come on that. That's my update, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Maggie? Hearing none. We don't have any other legislative liaisons to report today. So I think the call to order is completed. So if it's all right with you, Dan, we'll go to tab 2 and Executive Director's report.
So you have the monthly snapshot in your packets. We already discussed disaster and emergency preparedness, and we've already discussed the board member ethics. Just sign those, get them to me, and we'll get the DocuSign, so we're covered.
Mark?
Point clarification, Mr. Chairman and Dan. So looking at the two documents, the confidentiality of and use of position, there is no signature required on that form.
Okay.
And, but there is on the code of ethics, so we're only signing the code of ethics?
Correct.
Okay.
Are you sure we don't have to sign the other one?
Let me see the other one. I think the other one is referenced in the one references the other.
Oh, okay. Because I don't want you to have to get.
I don't want to have to do another one.
Yeah.
Following the fixed income threshold of work, less is more.
I mean, we can just sign it. We don't need a line for the board to figure it out, you know.
Okay. I'll check on this at lunch and
Okay.
let you know at once.
All right, good.
And then you also have the outreach efforts. We're required under the work plan to report to you the meetings that Doug and Louise go to market our programs, so that is also attached on the tab 2 memo. I was actually at the Mako conference yesterday, just talking about housing programs. 3-hour drive for a 10-minute presentation. It was totally worth it. A couple of general updates for the board.
Could I just say on that outreach, that you know, it's good that we have our programs out there and people want to use them. But it's a little different than some things because there is some fixed amount that we can do in a lot of those programs. So you got to watch that too.
And the other thing I'd say is we're not, you know, our primary charge is return, not primary charge being goodness of, you know, press releases and things of that nature. So every once in a while I'll get pinged, you know, well, why don't you do press releases, or why don't you have the Board of Investments stamp in front of the construction project? And the rule I use is we don't want to be in the newspapers. We just do good work under the radar. We work with the banks, we work with the economic development agencies, we work with the state agencies, but until you tell me otherwise, we're not gonna market, we're not gonna have press releases. We just do what we're supposed to do and maximize returns and do it in an understated way.
Department of Commerce has some efforts
They
in
would-
that way, and we leave that up to them.
They would love to put out press releases every time we fund a loan, and I just say, feel free to look at the minutes and find the loans and do a press release if you'd like, but we're not playing. Separate item, one of the questions that was asked at the TRS board meeting after I was done presenting and already out of the room, one of the board members asked about BOI costs. And that is going to be, at least from my perspective, a major focus for this calendar year on how we can reduce costs, negotiate fees down. Basically, maximizing returns is one thing, but the easiest return to make is the dollar you didn't have to spend. So just to put it in perspective, in fiscal 18, the BOI controlled expenses was at $5.2 million. So that's all of our payroll, all of our contracts, everything except for the Department of Commerce indirects, the Department of Administration indirects, and the legislative audit fees. So 5.2 million. Last year, it was 6.65. However, if you'll recall, we did a $1.5 million dividend. So we're actually at about a 5.1 expenditure on our side over the last 5 fiscal years. So our costs are going in the right direction. Our peers in fiscal 18, 520 at Commerce, 640 today. DOA fees, 250. They're staying relatively flat. The problem is they always adjust after we've established the budget for the year. So it'll be 179,000 that we budget, and then all of a sudden we got to renegotiate a bunch of contracts and it goes to 239. So there's not really a lot of predictability there. And then the LAD fees, fiscal 18, 52,000 in expenditure. We budgeted 105,000 for fiscal 24. I don't know that we'll spend that, but those fees are going up pretty precipitously. On the commerce side, I do intend to approach the department about renegotiating how our indirects are calculated. We don't use them for anything other than processing payroll. We have our own legal, we have our own HR, we have our own accounting. We pay our own invoices that we're allowed to pay, and we could pay all of them. The way that Commerce charges fees is unique to state government. They charge based on payroll as opposed to charging based on raw FTE counts. Well, we're the Board of Investments, not, the counterpart I always use is the Heritage Commission, the folks that run Virginia City. There's no difference in processing the director of whatever's paycheck than there is a tour guide's paycheck. But from the purposes of an indirect cost, we pay substantially more. Actually, we pay more to the Department of Commerce than we do to the federal government for Social Security taxes on a dollar for dollar basis. So I am going to approach them about renegotiating that rate to either per FTE, or in some instances like TRS, they only pay indirects for the services they use. So it's, we use your HR, we'll give you $50,000 a year to use your HR, and that's it. But I think that number can come down.
Is TRS under Commerce as well?
No. We are under Commerce because a former budget director needed to cut general fund. So he moved the Board of Investments under Department of Commerce, assigned the indirects, pulled the general fund out, and put essentially pension and workers' compensation money in place.
Well, your comment on TRS indirects, is that to D of A or something?
That's to D of A, yep.
Dan, on that subject, when I was on the lottery 20-some years ago, we brought up that question. They said that they couldn't change our rate because of the way they handled stuff for grants. There's a fee that they had to do. And so the lottery was successful in moving to the Department of Administration, which was probably 20% of the cost of being in the Department of Commerce.
So what I would say, my concern with moving to the Department of Administration is customer service. They are not a customer service agency. They will be in our business every day, all the time on all issues. And frankly, I think a little separation, given the custodial depository relationship we have with them, is a good thing. I think we can negotiate with the new commerce director to get a better rate. I do want to continue to pursue, as you've approved me to do, us getting exempt from the state HR policies. Those have been very, very burdensome. And as soon as we get out of that, we will have control of compensation and we won't have to wait. You know, right now, as it stands, if one of our staff members were to achieve a growth on the professional growth plan that we've developed, D of A would not process that adjustment until April 1st. There's no salary adjustments between December 18th and April 1st. So that doesn't work for us. If we have, our employees, we're not competing with the state of Montana. Throughout all the recruitments I've ran since I got here, I've lost people to the state of Florida. I've lost people to state of New Mexico. I've lost people to Pennsylvania. I have not lost people to down the street. And so it's a different market. Anyway, the premise of it is our costs are good, and the staff is wholly committed for this year to making them better.
So that report, we'll get that, what time frame?
So actually, we have a tracker in Teams that we're using. So what I'll probably do is just update you as we hit benchmarks. What I've told them is I want enough savings to cover our entire personal services budget for the biennium. So that's $9,166,615.
Okay. Mark?
Okay, but we also pay indirect costs to D of A,
Correct.
but you have no qualms with what you're paying D of A.
I do, but the problem is D of A is a light switch. D of A is if you're using the state network, they set the rates. The nuance that I want to do with the budget, you'll see this in August, is when D of A adjusts the rates, we don't have the ability within our budget to adjust our rate. So we charge a flat rate as approved by House Bill 2, and then that gets passed through. The only thing it impacts is the dividends. What I would like to do is that if D of A, after we set our budget, approves a rate increase, we have the ability to adjust our rate to meet it. Because otherwise it comes out of our hide for their actions. If they decide to adjust the rate, we need to be able to adjust with it.
So TRS asked you about BOI cost. Do you do a study with other states or private sector to do a comparison?
CEM does that for us.
Okay.
And we will have an updated CEM analysis for you for the next biennium based on this biennium's performance at the August meeting.
And then CEM will include the indirect costs?
It includes all costs.
And this is not exclusive of investment costs. This is including the investment costs, or those are two separate discussions?
Investment, so if you look at the Blue Book audit report, there's 3 line items. There's investment expense, which includes carried interest, which is a little bit of a weird thing. It includes custodial banking fees, and then it includes our budget, which our budget includes commerce fees, D of A fees, legislative audit fees. So in some years, it looks like our costs are high because we had great carried interest, which isn't an expense, but for the purposes of accounting, it is. So that's a hard one to try to explain away to legislators and even TRS or PERS board members. It's like, no, that's profit sharing that we had to pay. 80-20, I'll take 80 cents for a 20-cent expenditure any day of the week. But those are the three pieces that are bulked up for our audit, and that's typically what people look at.
So what you reported back to BOI, does or doesn't include the investment expenses?
So Nolan pulled just their share.
Nolan did that,
Yeah,
okay.
and that does not include investment
Okay, that's what I
expense,
thought.
but it also doesn't include discount dividends paid. So that includes dividends paid.
Okay,
So it's actually lower than the number you got.
oh, okay.
I just mentioned that CEM study is based on past history. And because of some of the changes we made, going to passive and domestic equity and things, that should look really good this year.
This will be our first biennium. We have all passive index. And it'll be our first biennium. We renegotiated our high yield fees with RVK. That'll be reflected. So, it's one of those, like I said, it's a tool. All of these audits we do are tools. And CEM 2 years ago showed us here's where you can do better. We went and implemented those places. I'm fully expecting we'll find something to do with this one. I don't view it as why did you miss that? I view it as great, let's go do it.
Offhand, do you know roughly the number for CAP? What is the expense ratio?
Total expenses, I wanna say, well, CAP would be proportionate to what Nolan gave you. Cause he just broke out, cause it's only you and PERS, so it'd be 0.03%.
That does include the investment.
That does not include the investment expense. The investment expense, Carpenter, if you could pull that table from the last blue book, Carpenter or Julie, and just bring that in for me. I'll get you the total,
Okay.
all of the expenses, and then, oh, look at that.
I was on my way.
She
So.
can't yell at you, Dan, so this is
That's
nice.
impressive.
So for CAP, it's 0.4% investment fees. The board is 5.2 million. For fiscal 23, the external managers were 56 million for a total of $61 million on, call it 15 billion in assets. So we have a 0.44% fee.
CAP, and then whatever amount you have in STIP doesn't really have a fee at all.
STIP has a 0.01, they're $911,000.
Okay,
We charge for $8 billion in management fees. And then the SMAs are about 0.09%. Our total investment fee ratio is 0.26%. So,
So that's on page A15 of
yes, of the blue book. So,
so
0.2
we're getting charged 7 basis points for, almost an 8% return.
Yep.
It's not too shabby.
no, we're in a good place. But if I'm gonna make these asks from the legislature to give us some more flexibility with our staffing, I wanna bring them we have a good story, I wanna bring them a great story.
Okay.
So look at that, my waxing eloquent has put us back on time.
Hard to
Happy to answer any questions though. Dwayne,
And, yeah, in regard to that, when you look at what expenses that come through mutual funds, okay, they're far higher than what we are by far.
Mhm.
And that's they're huge and stuff, but they can't run as efficiently as what you guys are for expense.
No, and and every time I have a legislator who looks at us and says, why don't you be a little more like the private sector? I say, great, we'll charge 2 and 20.
Okay, now's a good time if any board members have a question for Dan. Anything? Well,
All right,
all right, thank you.
thank you.
So do you want to go to lunch now or? what
I
do you-
think we should, if we break for lunch now and reconvene at 12:30, we can stay about a half hour ahead of schedule for the STIP deep dive.
Okay,
That works.
that works for everybody. So you online, be back at 12:30 for sure.
And then I'll, if you guys, actually, Savvy, let's Why don't we break for lunch and then I'll turn the camera on back in here in about 10 minutes.
Sounds good.
Thank you.